a major visual demonstration blowout here today. How's that? So I brought magazines, I brought books, and I brought a bag with 5 globes. And these 5 globes, you'll notice, are 4 silver globes and 1 black globe that has gold inlay. We will take the globes, drop them into the bag, and hold out the black globe with the gold inlay, because that gold inlay will absorb energy so well. Now, I'm going to ask if I might. I'm going to ask you, if you will, may I hand you this globe? I'm going to ask you to hold on to that globe, closing your hand, because now you're going to infuse energy into it. Learning energy. The energy that will allow you and has allowed you to absorb all of the information that we've shared throughout this course. And now I'm going to ask you, if you will, to drop that globe back into the bag. We shake up the bag. And now I will ask, if we may I hand you the bag, and I'm going to ask you, please, without looking, to take the bag, to reach in without looking. Now, you have to look to take the bag, I apologize. I have you reach in without looking, removing 1 globe, keeping it covered by your hands. You have no idea which globe you've taken. And I'll take the bag back. Thank you. You've selected a globe randomly. Now, we're going to take the bag. May I hand you the bag and ask you to take the bag without looking, to reach in, remove 1 globe without looking, surround it with your hand, and I'm going to have you hold your arm up. Very good. And I'll have you now, if you will, I'm going to have you hold your hand up so we know you have a globe. And then I will come and I'm going to ask you, if you will, to reach into the bag and then without looking, remove a globe. And then to hold your hand up. And then, let us see. Okay, let us do this. I will come back and I'm going to ask, if you will, to have you reach in, move a globe, surround it with your hand, hold it up, very good, and then I'm going to come back here. There's 1 globe left. I have no idea what it is. I'll have you please, without looking, reach in, move the globe, surround it so no one knows what globe you have. And now, all of you have a globe. I'm going to ask, if you will, please to rise up, to stand up with your globe. Because now what we're going to do, we are seeking that energy of knowledge and learning that you all have absorbed. And as you do that, in a moment I'm going to ask you, please, to turn your hand, to open your hand, well, first to turn it face up, to open it. You're holding a silver globe. And so I will take the silver globe back from you. Please open your hand. Yes. Silver globe. We're looking for the black globe with the gold of knowledge and learning. And you'll still do great on the exam. However, you have a silver globe. Please, we'll take your silver globe. Am I right? Please show it to all. It is a silver globe. We're looking for the black globe. We're looking for that energy. And if we might, alas, I'm going to ask you to bring me your silver globe. Thank you. In a moment, I'm going to ask you both to open your hands. And what we're going to find is you have a silver globe and you have the black globe with the infused energy. Please turn your hands over the silver globe and the black globe. Thank you. Magazines. I'm going to ask, if I might, I'm going to ask you please just to select either magazine. Whichever one you want, you hold on to. Please hold on to that. What I'm going to ask you to do in a moment is I'm going to ask you please to open the magazine to whatever page you want. Go through it, please. And I'm going to ask you please to select a page, any page you want. For today's purposes, I'll ask you to select one with a lot of print on it and not one with just pictures. I'm going to have you go to one of the pages. And then, when you find a page with a lot of print, I'm going to ask you to go through the page and silently select a word. For today's purposes, I'm going to ask you please to select the biggest word, the longest word, the most letters, the most syllables, because that will make this the most impressive. And once you find that word, share it with your colleagues. Please remember it. I'll have you close the magazine and I'll take the magazine back. Very good. Do we have a few minutes? Is this okay if we persist? Fatal sins. We'll talk more about this when we get into medical jurisprudence and medical ethics. One of the key fatal sins we want to avoid in medicine is failure to obtain informed consent. Fatal sins. May I hand you this book? May I have you tell us how many pages are in this book?
280.
280. I'm going to ask you to allow me the poetic license to say 300 pages. It will make the math easier. In a standard galley proof of a hardback book published in the United States, there are between 200 and 400 words per page. 300 pages, it's approximately 120,000 words. I'm going to ask you please to turn to any page you want in the book. Scan down the page. If you're not happy with that page, while some may say you may change your mind, I'm going to ask you to keep the mind you have. However, you may change the page. And I want you to select the page with which you're comfortable. And then I'm going to ask you, if you will, once you've found the page that you like, to silently select a word, the biggest word, the longest word, the most letters, the most syllables, because that will make this the most impressive. If you are conflicted at the unconscious level between two of the longest words, most letters, most syllables, you may select two words if you feel that need. And please do not verbalize the word because I do read lips. I'm going to ask you please to just point to the words to your colleague. I will not look. And I'm going to ask you both then to either keep the single word or both words in your memory. When you're ready, I'm going to have you close the book. I'll take it back. Thank you. We'll do this. Books. Now, I hand you the dictionary. Very good. I'll have you hold on to that. Take a book, The Ultimate Flashback. We talked about post-traumatic stress disorder. One of the potential signs and symptoms is the flashback. I'm going to ask you please to say stop at any time.
Stop.
Okay? Okay? We'll do it again. Just say stop at any time. Okay, very good. Now have you look at the first word at the top of the page at which you stopped. Got it? I'm going to have you please look at the 2 page numbers that you stopped at random. Got it? Because I'm going to have you turn to those 2 pages in your dictionary. Death wish reminds us 10 to 15% of patients with major depressive disorder suicide in their lifetime. Death wish. Charles Bronson, one of my heroes, who starred in all the Death Wish movies. There were so many of them. I think the last one was Death Wish meets Rocky Beneath the Planet of the Apes. I'm going to ask you please to say stop at any time. Stop. Are you satisfied with this page? Because I'm going to have you memorize the first word at the top of that page. If you like that word, if you don't, we'll go to another page.
Let's go to another one.
Okay, great. Just say stop. Stop. Are you satisfied there? Do you like that one, or do you want us to go to another page?
I love it.
Okay. Thanks. That's great. Please say stop at any page. Are you satisfied with this? I've memorized first word at the top of that page. Very good. Lots of words, lots going on. I'm going to ask. Magazines. You selected a word. Is that correct? Please do not tell us your word, but please share with us just the first letter of your word.
S.
Letter S, in and of itself,
doesn't tell us much. It's not supposed to. And you all selected one or two words. Please share with us just the first letter of your word.
V.
Letter V. Okay. The letters don't tell us much. They're not supposed to, and that's okay. And the other people selected words as well. When we think about, I'm picking up on a word in the back of the room that reminds us when individuals present with self-injurious behavior, we have to be thinking about, is this a suicide attempt? Are we looking at personality disorder? We talked about self-mutilation and cutting. In borderline personality disorder, the word you're thinking is C-U-T. Is that correct? Very good. And we want to stay on top of information. So we want to read the journals, and we want to attend continuing medical education courses. Because the information we want to know should be the L-A-T-E-S-T, the latest. Is that correct?
That's right.
That's your word. And when we think about symptoms, we have to be certain that the symptoms really are psychiatric in nature. Otherwise, we may miss a physiologic disorder. That's the reason we order labs and we get scans. Because some illnesses may present as others. Am I right? And the first word you were thinking of, yet you didn't like, reminds us that when we're working at the computer and a patient is in front of us, we need to look up.
Yeah.
Thank you. When we practice medicine, we want to maintain a healthy attitude. And we want to maintain a collegial attitude. Yes, as if we are engaged in good sportsmanship. Is that right? And the key is patient information and charts. We'll talk more about this in medical jurisprudence and medical ethics. The key to protect that information. When a patient presents to us, each time he or she presents, we get a piece of information. And the information we get goes into their chart. And that information is essentially a snapshot at that given time. Over time, the patient's medical chart becomes more than just a picture here and a picture there. It becomes a living movie of their lives. Because you all selected a word and are thinking of the word V-I-D-E-O-C-A-S-S-E-T-T-E. Video cassette, is that correct? I want to thank you all again very, very much. Harry, am I right?
Yeah.
2 random pages, completely at random. There should be 4 columns of defined words. Is that correct? 2 columns on each page. So we have columns 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now I'm going to ask, what column would you like? 1, 2, 3, or 4?
3.
3. I want you please to look at column 3. I want you, if you will, please to focus at the first bold print defined word at the top of column 3. It reminds us we want to be ethical and accurate in our diagnosing, because that will follow the patient for a very long time and will make differences in his or her insurance eligibility. Because what we are creating for these patients is not just a label, it's an EAR-MARK. Is that correct? Earmark. Thank you. Thank you.